Almost a month.
Amazing story.
Yeah, we've almost made it a whole menstrual cycle.
So the big ticket item, the headline of today is the Pulitzer Prize, or
In our world.
In our world, yeah. Or as the intelligentsia like to call it, the Pulitzer.
That's how I said it. Fuck you.
You say Pulitzer?
I think so, yeah.
I feel like I've probably never even said it out loud.
I've never said it out loud. What do I know? I'm a heathen. And among a host of other no-name winners, we have Kendrick Lamar, who won the Pulitzer for his album Damn, period, stop.
And Jerry Saltz,
New York Magazine's
won the Pulitzer for criticism.
Jerry Saltz actually won the Pulitzer for horniness. And they were like, this guy has record levels of horniness.
What he's done for horniness he's changed the game.
Yeah. So Jerry Saltz has been like New York Magazine's resident art critic for a while. He's probably one of the few people, along with his wife Roberta Smith, of the New York Times, right? Or is she at the New Yorker?
She's at the New York Times.
Yeah. Who actually make money.
She's like a real art critic.
Yeah, and they're sort of like the reigning power couple of art criticism. Roberta, from what I understand, takes a more elevated tack, while Jerry prefers to traffic and populism.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I think Jerry's claim to fame, other than being on the short-lived Bravo show,
Work of Art.
Yeah.
Did either of you watch that?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was rough. I think I'd rather watch Vanderpump. For sure.
Yeah,
an actual work of art.
Yeah, I've never seen it, because if I want to disenjoy myself while looking at art, I can just, walk down any street in Bushwick or go to an art gallery in the Lower East Side.
It also had Bill Powers.
Oh yeah.
Oh good.
He's Cynthia Rowley's husband. Mm-hmm. Extremely tanned, crispy white suit-wearing husband. So Jerry Saltz, really, his main claim to fame is his Instagram, which is like a pathetic parade of prurient voyeurism.
Desperate. Feeding.
And it's like punctuated by these occasional spurts of anti-Trump resistance gestures. Like there was a time when Trump got elected that he made like a DIY t-shirt that said "Not My President" and paraded around Instagram.
Very tight.
Yeah. Going to like art galleries and running his errands, and
he didn't have like less integrity. Wasn't he also the one who said that the Trump like border wall prototypes were essentially minimalist art objects?
No, I believe that he said that, but I've never heard that. But Jesus Christ, yeah.
Got a lot of jobs. Wait, no, yeah, he was the border wall prototypes or minimalist art. Wow.
But, he's not wrong, because really the most important conceptual and performance artist of our time is Donald Trump.
Agreed.
But I really hate to break it to Saltz and the rest of the anti-Trump resistance, but Trump, unfortunately, he is our president, and it's kind of up to us to figure out what we're going to do about it. And the answer probably doesn't lie in manufacturing more like feminist slogan art or Banksy-inspired street art. Yeah. And Jerry's online activities, though, are like mostly limited to intellectually finger-fucking art world it girls, and then posting more art historic examples of female nudity to put a nicely intellectualized wedge between him and his...
He was drunk writing like Ali Marzella for a while.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like around the time Richard Prince was doing his sort of horny thing.
Yeah, which was appropriating in really bold quotes the Instagrams of like minor art world celebutants and throwing them up on the gallery
and
wall.
sometimes just straight up like suicide girls, like not girls who didn't even have pretensions of being.
So Saltz, I take it, was probably a supporter of Prince, right?
Yeah. But then he kind of like put his own spin on it.
Mm-hmm. He called him a pervert troll genius.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like the dirty old man's equivalent of Manic Pixie Dream Girl. No, but it's really funny to me that Saltz is so, his sensibilities are so offended by Trump, because remember, like, way back when, a couple of months, even a year ago, these two girls who are like tangentially in the art world wrote a very viral Facebook post where they called Jerry Saltz the Donald Trump of the art world for his alleged kind of
was this post-election?
Yeah, it was post-election for all of his kind of above board posting of female nudes and also kind of alleged private contact. And it's really a wonder. I have to hand it to the man. Like, I think Jerry Saltz really won the Pulitzer Prize for like being a prominent art critic who never got Me Too.
Yeah, they were just hard up for anyone notable. Maybe he'll get Me Too now.
Yeah, now that he's a highly credentialed, he's a Pulitzer Prize holder.
Well, he's aligning himself with the new art forum.
Yeah. Is Knight Landsman, Jerry Saltz's buddy, who you can find them posing together on the internet, is he still associated with Art Forum or no?
No, there's just that whole lawsuit that's going on. But I think that the people that
he's been ousted.
Yeah.
For his misconduct.
Mm-hmm.
And Saltz is now buddying up to the new regime.
Yeah, the David Velasco editor.
Yeah, the David Velasco LGBTQRYZ whatever adjacent art forum. They just, like, whenever they like make the LGBT, like, expand the LGBT moniker, they should add just like another letter on the QWERTY keyboard. With like an apostrophe X.
LGBTSALTZ.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to absolve themselves of the recent wrongdoings that have been going on there. I'm sure if he loses the lawsuit, that magazine's going to be over.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that Art Forum, I have no hot take on Art Forum either way.
I don't either.
Nor do I care. I mean, even if I did, I wouldn't care to broadcast it. But it's funny that they're sort of rebranding as a more gay and women-friendly outfit because, since when is art not gay and women-friendly on the surface anyway? Like, who reads art magazines? Gays and women.
Exactly.
I'm sure, like, the power brokers are all male, but the readership and the public is almost exclusively female.
That's the only people that can read.
Yeah. So it's funny that Saltz has made a name for himself as like the sort of like cis-het art critic to the stars, who aside from his horniness.
I feel like his wife, he like is bolstered a little bit by his wife.
By her, yeah.
Like she like lends him enough credibility or something.
Yeah, that has to be it. I mean, they pal around to all the openings on Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah.
So does Bill Powers and Cynthia Rowley. I've seen them on their bicycles when the weather's nice, going around.
I'll let this be a testament that true love is possible in the art world. But I mean, Jerry Saltz is like the kind of guy who I think gets off to some extent on being a social media personality. Mm-hmm. And so he's made a lot of statements about how he can't like decouple his persona from his practice, which is, once again, I hasten to remind you, art criticism. Yeah.
Has Peter Sheldall ever won a Pulitzer?
No, of course not.
I feel like he's a decent writer.
Yeah, I know, but like nobody decent would ever actually win the Pulitzer.
I'm sorry, I feel like this is like
validation on
giving the equivalent to like a writer. I like it, but the cut, like a Pulitzer.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Saltz is basically a writer at the cut.
Or like like it's Grub Street.
Yeah. Or Racked.
Or what was the website that published the Aziz Ansari thing? Babe,
yeah.
Fake shit.
Babe wins the Pulitzer Prize for its groundbreaking feminist reporting. But, I will say, like, being horny is not a crime, but Jerry Saltz has really elevated it into an entire institution. Yeah. It's like really remarkable. I actually don't know much about Jerry Saltz's writing. Having read a copious amount of it, it's really like in one hole, out the other. I know that he's a really big fan of like Marina Abramovich and Jay-Z and like Gwyneth Paltrow and all like the cool liberal elite people.
Oh, his Marina Abramovich article was so pathetic.
When was that?
It was like when she was doing the thing where she let people look at her.
Jay-Z
at her, and like Jay-Z was like bopping around. It was so like star-studded and like groveling.
Really? Yeah. So back when I was like in my early 20s, I wrote like a Medium post about Jay-Z's Picasso Baby, which was like a video in which Marina figures prominently. It was like, you know, in some like white cube gallery, and there was all these celebs there, and Jerry Saltz wrote kind of like a cautious but actually totally gloating piece about being in this like ground zero hotbed of celebrity, and then he kind of went back on his words with the Trump thing when he published the piece about art, the art world as a silver lining to Trump's election, that artists will now flourish. And he you know, in that piece he talks about artists like using the latest technology to stop deportation buses, or like artists having like political discourses, and it's just like a completely ridiculous, almost like movie type fantasy of the art world.
I found his Picasso Baby article.
Yeah.
Jay-Z started dancing. So did I, or at any rate for what passes for an older, balding Jewish man trying to bust some moves. My hands were ice cold. I was shaking. I felt my internal ship was on fire and useless. I loved it, and him, and this.
Like he had a hard-on in the gallery.
That's how you get a Pulitzer, ladies and gentlemen.
No, and it's funny that you quote that point, because in his post-Trump debriefing article, he actually goes back on his word and starts talking about how, you know, it's nice for artists to be like in the lap of luxury surrounded by Jay-Z and Beyonce, but it's time that we all take a stand against the like incipient danger of Donald Trump by wearing like $400 cashmere sweaters embroidered with "Resist" and "I miss Obama."
Oh my God. Yeah, I just had a flashback to those sweaters.
Yeah, those feminist sweaters, yeah. Listen, they're hand embroidered by a totally independent company. This is not a sweatshop.
Of course. No children on hands.
So the other person who won the Pulitzer Prize is Kendrick Lamar for Damn, for that famous lyric about wanting to see like an ass without with stretch marks.
Oh,
An ass without Photoshop.
Right.
Yeah.
People loved that.
And according to Enemy, the judges applauded the, quote, vernacular authenticity and rhythmic dynamism of Damn, which, ladies and gentlemen, just sounds racist.
Yeah.
Rhythmic dynamism.
Yeah, it sounds like, you know, it reminds me of how the press used to talk about the Obamas during Obama's 2 terms, and like now they've since even doubled down on that rhetoric, and it was always like, you know, how graceful and poised and articulate and elegant the Obamas were, which is not something you would ever describe white people as.
Right, exactly.
And it's just like glaring, disgusting, like you're making an implicit comparison. And, you know, my beef with Kendrick Lamar is that he's really done, for being such a burgeoning activist, he's done really nothing to push back against this narrative. He's like okay with being like the poster child of like the liberal resistance. Kendrick's claim to fame is like showing up at these award shows like the Grammys and giving these like civil rights inspired performances that are powerful and brave and bracing, and, you know, make the Helen Mirrens and Harvey Weinsteins in the front row rethink
Everything they thought they knew.
Yeah.
Hip hop and black people.
Yeah. And like, so basically Kendrick won the Pulitzer for performing a single from the Black Panther soundtrack at Coachella.
It was Beyonce.
Yeah.
Oh, did you guys see the Beyonce Coachella performance?
No.
I watched some bootlegs.
Everyone was raving about it.
I also watched Cardi's and enjoyed that much more.
I didn't see Cardi's. I only like looked into Beyonce's because everyone was talking about it.
It's like a lot. It's just like 1 million people on stage and a lot of like marching band.
Yeah, and I think Jay-Z comes out and Michelle and Kelly come out, and it's like basically a revival of all of her rehashing of all of her past lives as like a member of Destiny's Child and the wife of Mrs. Carter or whatever. It's literally like a Jerry Saltz review if you watch the Beyonce Coachella performance.
I don't know if it's because I'm from Las Vegas, like maybe I'm jaded or like just a little too familiar with the entertainment industry, but I like couldn't care less
about Coachella.
What Beyonce did at Coachella.
Oh yeah.
It seems so underwhelming to me that she did a performance.
There was the other thing where she was like didn't want any unflattering photos of her
Yeah.
posted, which I was very
Oh
strange.
yeah, that was like an old scandal, and she had her like PR team go back and like pull them from the internet, which of course is impossible in practice. But yeah, I mean, Kendrick, I'm on the fence about him because it's probably an unpopular thing to say, but he you know, basically performs a very palatable version of identity politics for a primarily white audience.
Yeah,
On,
I
like,
liked
the Grammy
Good Kid
stage.
and Bad City or whatever in 2000. Like it came out like when I was like graduating from college.
Yeah.
I listened to it a lot, and now when I listen to it, I feel like embarrassed that those like songs resonated with me.
Yeah.
I was like that person.
Yeah.
That like white girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the guys in my comparative literature undergrad were very into Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, he has like that song about like alcoholism. I was like,
Yeah.
this is so me. I'm like,
This is like me when I'm cramming for my exams at Sarah Lawrence or Wesleyan. I'm like basically an alcoholic.
when I'm taking Adderall to write my thesis paper on menstrual suppression, and sometimes the feelings get really dark.
The only other rap news today that we were talking about is that Kanye West is writing a book of like theory or philosophy, which is like
I'm
hilarious.
bored with.
I'm on board with it too, but it's like very like reads Foucault once.
He's an accelerationist.
He got back on Twitter.
Yeah.
Rubchinski's designing his neck tattoo.
Yeah, Russian
and he's been-
interference. Yeah.
Russian interference. And he's been talking about planes of consciousness and stuff.
Yeah, and capitalism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is
And
cool.
and in that sense, Kanye and I have something in common because I really want to get a Vetmont's tramp stamp in like kind of like a metal logo.
Oh yeah, you guys can have matching, and he's getting Saint West and like.
Yeah. So like one of the male media theorists I consort with is like hitting it from behind. He can remember that we're all pawns of capitalism.
I read Kanye's book in a second. See, Kanye's cool.
Yeah,
He'll
Kanye
just
should
go on
win
the
the Pulitzer
record and
Prize.
say like George Bush doesn't care about black people. He had that mental breakdown where he said he was going to vote for Trump, and like I love his like there's something going on and I can't tell you what it is, but it's like really bad. And then he goes away to like a hospital and comes back.
Yeah, but Kanye West is like, he's exactly the kind of guy, he's a guy who's unmanageable,
Yeah.
and because he's a little crazy, and he's never
One
gonna,
genius who isn't crazy.
yeah, and he's never gonna rise to like the upper echelons. I mean, that's his whole like identity politics, his whole beef is that he's never gonna be accepted into like the corridors of real power.
Right.
They barely let him into the Balenciaga store because he's essentially unruly, unwieldy, unmanageable. Somebody like Kendrick Lamar is really like a handmaiden
Yeah.
True.
to like the white art establishment.
Poetic justice.
All right, let's take a quick break and then come back to Margaret Atwood and the Variety Power of Women Luncheon.
Hey, we're back. And we're talking about Margaret Atwood, who made some very brave and powerful remarks about female equality in the age of Trump at the Variety Power for Women luncheon. Margaret Atwood, of course, is the author of The Handmaid's Tale, the book that recently became a hit HBO series and is a Hulu series and is back for this. I always assume everything
It's
is
not
on
quite HBO, great.
No, and is back for its second season. I haven't actually read the book, but the show itself, you know, is basically like an extended play, liberal rape fantasy, intellectualized as a political allegory. It's like basically a way for bourgeois middle class prudes.
Right.
Sorry
to
to
imagine what it would be like
Yeah.
if they were like sexually viable.
Yeah, to enjoy fantasies of like being overpowered by men
Yeah.
instead of being overpowered by their job.
Mm-hmm.
Lays bare the horrors of collusion with the patriarchy.
Yeah. And
Also haven't read it, nor have I seen the show.
yeah, we on this podcast have not seen the show, so bear with us as we stumble inarticulately
Cobble together a hot take.
But the gist of Atwood's speech is that we're living in both the best and worst times for women. That's a quote, which of course is true, but not for the reasons that Margaret Atwood thinks. And I mean, her basic idea is elementary and correct enough. It's that, things have gotten better for women on an individual, professional level, but they've declined from the standpoint of collective rights and representation. Margaret Atwood, I've always thought of her as kind of the thinking man's Meryl Streep. Like, she's always down to, pen a think piece,
Yeah,
or give a speech,
go to a luncheon.
go to a luncheon.
Even though she's Canadian.
Yeah, and she's always full of pithy little rejoinders about, like, the state of feminism and the return of fascism.
And she
that sort of
famously
thing.
said the quote that feminists love.
Yeah,
which
one
is
of those.
Men are afraid women will laugh at them, and women are afraid men will
Men
kill
will
them.
Ooh, slow clap, drops mic. But
Panty drop.
Yeah.
But naturally, I mean, Margaret Atwood has a lot more credibility than most other feminist thinkers and writers because she's Canadian. And Canada, after all, is like America, but it's also a welfare state. So, of course, she made the joke that when shit hits the fan in the Southern Territories here, that, quote, a nice hot cup of tea and a mattress in a church basement is waiting up north for anyone who wants to flee the political situation. And I was thinking, like, well, don't they have Justin Trudeau in Canada? Like, he's like the sexy Cabbage Patch Kid poster child of the most rapacious form of neoliberalism.
Yeah. He's one of the biggest cucks of all time.
Yeah. This guy is basically like Obama and Macron in that he's like a free market pawn. And again, the matter is, I guess, the difference between him and someone like Trump, I guess, is a matter of degree, but it's also a matter of sensibility.
Decorum,
Yeah, we're just like
Basically.
kind of talking about superficial levels of decorum.
Trudeau will go to like a women's march or like a gay rights march and take photos with like drag queens.
Yeah, while wearing rainbow-colored socks. Yeah. And she also, added that Canadians have been impressed by the way Americans have, quote, mobilized and pushed back against Trump. I think she's talking about, like, the pink pussy hats and the street art. And,
all the
Jerry
meaningful
Saltz's-
resisting we've been doing down here.
But Atwood is a very frustrating figure because she's always, like, on the precipice of having good politics, but she never quite gets there. So basically, her diagnosis about the ills of capitalism are pretty, spot on, generally speaking. But
And her prescriptions.
But her prescriptions are always somehow off.
Wait, you know that that one character is based off Phyllis Schlafly.
Which one? Oh, one of the
In Handmaid's
in the
Tale,
Handmaid's
there's
Tale.
like a
No, I didn't know that.
conservative
Yeah.
lady.
Like the female fundamentalist celebrity.
But I remember back when Trump had just won the election, Atwood wrote a kind of fairly sober gloss on the whole kind of Panglossian art will flourish under Trump, the genre of essay that Jerry Saltz also wrote for The Nation, where she made the point that, quote, satire, alas, tends to fall flat when the reality exceeds even the wildest exaggerations of the imagination, as it's increasingly doing today. And that's, like, a good, profound point. It's a point that, like, sounds like it could almost come out of, like, Mark Fisher or Adam Curtis. It's a point that I've made before, on Twitter, in limited form on Twitter, like having truly, believe it or not, studied the rise of, like, cultural totalitarianism in Russia after the fall of communism and the rise of privatization. And, like, the idea that we talked about before, that Trump performs his own incompetence so well that, like, any attempt to resist it is immediately neutralized and aestheticized into an empty gesture. And I think like what she's getting at is almost this like it's like a bastardized Yankee version of what like Vladislav Surkov, the Kremlin's Dark Knight and chief ideologue, did in Russia after Putin, with this whole concept of nonlinear warfare. You know, it's like what you get basically is like a Chinese finger trap where one side needs each other to resist, and resistance is like solely on the terms meted out by the ruling party. So in that sense, like Atwood has like a good grasp, I think, on cultural, on like the rise of totalitarianism, let's say. But you know, at least as far as like Handmaid's Tale goes, it's like one of these things that contributes to like liberal bourgeois moral panic by misleading us into thinking that we're living in a
in like a dystopia,
in a fascist dystopia, and not a digital one.
Right.
And I guess, you know, we can't really blame Atwood because she's probably in like her 60s or 70s, right?
Yeah, she's like ancient.
Yeah. So she's like another one of these people who basically believes in the transgressive gesture and the idea that like politics
the 60s,
the 60s
are still like a viable model for social justice activism.
Yeah. And in her mind, the real villain is always going to be someone like Trump and not Zuckerberg.
Wait, didn't she famously said that 9/11 terrorists were inspired by Star Wars?
Oh yeah, I saw that in like a headline and didn't even bother to read it.
I clicked it.
That's like some Joyce Carol Oates level gobbledygook.
Because there's rebels
and a desert, and I think like Star Wars was like racist against Arabs or something.
I barely know what Star Wars is about.
Yeah, I haven't watched it
at all.
Have you? Yeah.
I watched The Empire Strikes Back when I was like 22 and was kind of like, I'm too old for this. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I've already had this immigrant experience, so I'm not going to be able to fold Star Wars. Like, I know who Yoda is. Like,
no, that's how I felt. And I always liked Blade Runner more than Star Wars.
Yeah,
I don't know.
have to watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
Unless you want to really get a grasp on why 9/11.
Yeah. But yeah, Atwood is like confusing in this way because so much of what she says is like profound and prescient and correct, and then like the other half is like this complete like magical thinking, like hysterical bullshit.
Well, I think she is a good writer.
Yeah.
But being a good writer doesn't always make someone like a good thinker.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, she's good at like you said, doing like pithy little aphoristic statements.
Yeah, and she's another one of these people like Kendrick Lamar that is always being trotted out as like the avatar of feminism.
Right, they're fine being co-opted.
Yeah, just like he's kind of the avatar of black rights in this day and age, and they're kind of presumably on account of their race or sex or whatever allowed to speak for everyone.
Mm.
So speaking of diversity and inclusion, last Tuesday, Mark Zuckerberg, everyone's favorite social justice warrior, testified before a joint Senate committee on Facebook's role in the Cambridge Analytica breach. During the testimony, he did invoke the new identity politics and tell the senators how, you know, Facebook has a problem and that there isn't enough representation by Black and Latino people in the company. I see what you did there. I was offended too.
I actually just have to cough.
Yeah. A lot of the reaction to Zuckerberg was like we get it, he's like a lizard person or a robot. There was a lot of memes.
Yeah, a lot of good memes. I love the one where he has a fat ass.
Yeah.
That one made me laugh a lot.
I mean, it's actually really accurate. Mark Zuckerberg seems like a very kind of pear-shaped woman.
Yeah, like a eunuch, like a doughy,
fecund body. Yeah. He's like an X-Files episode. A lot of people compared him to like Data from Star Trek, but I think
that generous.
It's generous, but I think that that guy's like a 1 on the binary at least. But I always think of him as looking more like Philip IV, was it, in like Velázquez paintings? Like he has that same like deathly aristocratic vibe.
Yeah, that kind of inbred white skin.
Yeah. So, I mean, my first thought after seeing all the pics and memes and hot takes was like, oh my god, imagine having sex with Mark Zuckerberg. Like, imagine his O face.
Oh.
I like really terrorized, like emotionally terrorized myself with this vision. And I felt really bad for Priscilla Chan, his wife.
What does she do?
I don't know.
I thought you worked at Facebook.
I think she might work at Facebook.
Yeah.
But she's like an extension of his brand.
I mean,
Oh, no, wait, she's a
like,
pediatrician. Shit.
Oh.
Oh, oops.
I feel like they probably don't fuck that much, though.
Yeah, they fuck like they're like insects or like lizards who like molt every once a year. They like fuck once a year to produce the family heir or whatever.
Yeah. Do they have kids? I don't even.
They have a kid,
yeah.
So, yeah, so he's had to have put it in at least once.
Or maybe they even have twins. I don't know. We know remarkably,
Twins are often a product of
in vitro. Yeah.
They have a daughter, Maxima.
Okay.
Named after the
That's very-
Vison.
Wow. It's a very imperatorial name.
Great car.
It's funny because Mark Zuckerberg is so like nondescript and featureless, but naming his daughter Maxima basically confirms all of his political ambitions.
God, he's awful.
But his testimony basically comes on the heels of this whole Cambridge Analytica scandal, and it's like for everybody who's been living under a rock for the past couple of weeks, Cambridge Analytica is like this shadowy British election consultancy that's been linked to Steve Bannon and the Russians, of course, which basically extra legally accessed and harvested the profiles of 50 million Facebook users, and then used that data to construct a powerful weapon of psychological warfare to influence electoral outcomes in favor of Trump.
I'm convinced I took a quiz.
Yeah.
That took
For Cambridge Analytica.
Well, yeah, it was all of those like personality quizzes
Yeah,
that
I
everyone
see.
was taking. Because
I
they're
mean-
all such twisted narcissists that were like, which personality disorder do I have? Oh, it's only 80 questions.
I know, and that's all of like social media.
What would I look like after 8 rounds of plastic surgery?
But I mean, does anybody ever really vote in a way that is anybody ever swayed by these kind of like clandestine influence marketing incursions? Like, don't people probably are going to vote the way they're going to vote, and all this like tampering only affirms their originally held views.
Right, the echo. Yeah, because initially the problem with Facebook was that it was this like echo chamber.
Yeah,
That was the first wave of sort of like the Facebook problem.
Yeah, like gated communities. Yeah.
I know that Cambridge Analytica stuff was very focused on identifying neuroses, like with people and what drives their neuroses.
Which one of these
Sort of
school
fascinating.
shooters is most likely to vote for Trump?
I just don't think of like a Midwestern person having neuroses.
You guys have all the
do.
neuroses.
I mean,
they're
yeah,
just like
but-
very
They're even more neurotic than
Very well
West Coast
suppressed, yeah.
elites.
Yeah, if you think
I guess-
like coastal Jews are neurotic, try going to the Midwest.
It's like different than the textbook like definition that I
Yeah.
understood. But
But
I guess those ads must have done something.
yeah,
I mean, there were literally undecided voters
yeah,
up until the election,
Yeah.
basically. So I imagine a lot of, it's hard for me to conceive of someone like seeing an ad and being swayed.
imagine being an undecided voter, and
Yeah.
imagine being an undecided voter who's swayed by an ad you see on Facebook. Like, it's like you said, in that, if your convictions are indiscernible from those of Russian bots, like,
You'd like deserve to have your election medal then, yeah. But I don't think it's even necessarily like one ad. I think it's just about the sort of like the static and the chaos of all of the information.
Yeah.
And then when it's siphoned through some algorithm that people
yeah.
are exposed to via personality quizzes, then.
I mean, I think like
But I barely use Facebook, obviously. I mean,
I know. I mean, I think that became clear during the testimony when all of these, like, octogenarian senators were questioning. They're like, Mr. Zuckerberg, if I connect the router to my niece's computer, will that help the Wi-Fi situation in our home?
It really, truly was like that, though.
Yeah.
And I had it on while I was working for like 3 hours, and it was rough.
And I mean, the other half of the testimony was just like foreplay. It was like, as a proud user of Facebook, Mr. Zuckerberg, we are committed to your
vision
reform.
of
And it was, the whole testimony itself was very unremarkable. Nobody really said anything that we didn't know already.
He said dorm room a lot. And
Yeah,
senator.
true.
I watched 2 video compilations of him saying senator over and over, and then mentioning how he made Facebook in a dorm room.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, it was like watching Michael Corleone testify before the Senate in The Godfather. Just like how much of a dog and pony show, like circle jerk it was. A lot of senators, like Mark Zuckerberg, whatever, everybody's slowly coaxing each other to let them put it in their butt or whatever. For growing years now, my constituency has been made up of Italian Americans. The Italian American people are our friends. Don't let a few rotten apples spoil the bunch. But I mean, naturally, conversations like this have been cloaked in like the opaque dystopian rhetoric. I think as much to like impress and bamboozle the public as to flatter the egos of the disruption industry's ruling class, who, I saw a couple of funny takes on Twitter, who are, basically busy inventing concepts like the city bus and municipal taxes. But I think that the best take that I saw came from Yasha Levine at The Baffler, who argues that in making a scapegoat out of Cambridge Analytica, it conveniently basically ignores the fact that the covert influence and algorithmic targeting are as American as apple pie. And he's not wrong.
Right.
Like the first thought I had when I was reading about this was like, wait until you guys see like Facebook or Google or Amazon's business plan.
Right.
Like, what does Cambridge Analytica have to do with anything? It's a blip on the radar.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? I mean, if you look at the, like, I was just thinking about this in a larger sense, if you look at the history of the internet, in spite of all of its, like, techno-utopian rhetoric of democratizing society, this was something that was basically bankrolled by the military as, like, a counterinsurgency and surveillance tool. And if you look at like the history of neoliberalism in general, in spite of its like great ideal of a unregulated free market, this was something that was subsidized by the state and passed down through a system of very like tightly controlled, highly influential think tanks. I mean, nothing I'm saying is even like disputable or controversial.
I mean, it falls right in line with the Clintons' ADA algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
That they used.
I mean, name one thing that isn't an inside job.
Yeah.
File it under big data failure.
But that said, I really can't wait for like the second Hollywood biopic where like James Franco cocks his eyebrow and is like, "Senator, you run ads." But yeah, I mean, it's a really sad kind of state that we live in. We basically live in a time where like massive digital platforms like Facebook and Google and Amazon operate even less like multinational corporations than like sovereign entities that basically transcend all national boundary and international law. And so it's, of course, misleading to see the political landscape in the old historical sense. It's like one of, like a warring interest between political parties or even like nation states.
Has anyone looked into how come when you talk about stuff, you'll see ads for it on Instagram? Like when you talk about, if I say like Levi's, I'll look at my phone, I'll see an ad for Levi's.
Natasha, they're reading your mind.
I don't mind it. It helps me remember what
like
to buy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, I need those.
Well, yeah, that's
I
the
need
thing.
I need that IUD. Actually, for a long time, I was getting an IUD ad. I would read the hairpin every day at work, and then I get the IUD ads.
IUD ads.
And
So
like
you
like hiking boots.
I personally don't care what happens with my data.
I mean, I don't really either. I think that's the trick. Like, people don't, by and large, don't give a shit as if the if their data is being harvested to like sell products that they're interested back to them, they only start to get outraged. And I don't know how deep the outrage is even. It could be just like performative when the data
It is satisfying to make fun of Mark Zuckerberg.
It is, yeah. I mean, he's a really repulsive figure.
He sucks. Facebook sucks. It's always sucked. It's like a cesspool.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Aesthetic travesty.
Yeah, and I don't know who. I mean, we have such low standards for these massive, shadowy, like algorithmic-based companies that basically control our lives. At least it could be cute.
Yeah.
Like, is it too much to ask that like the UX is like understandable?
At least the information. The least they could do is make it like chronological, and they can't even do that.
Yeah, do you remember Peach? That social.
Yes.
Yeah, I wish I could forget.
Do you remember Ello?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could forget that.
I still get emails.
Me too. It's really embarrassing.
I still have an email in my inbox with Peach, and I had to email them multiple times and be like, please delete my Peach account. Please delete my Peach account.
this is
No one
another
can
thing.
delete it.
Well, this is another thing that I've noticed. Not only do massive tech companies read your mind when you're like literally thinking about buying like some like Spanx or something. Yeah.
I just read your mind.
Yeah, you did. Dasha's a clairvoyant up in here. They also, like, when you try to unsubscribe to from like one of their email lists, double down on the frequency with which they send you the emails. Like, instead of 1 a week, it's like 3 a week, and it's like literally I think I don't know, my biggest sexual kink is like unsubscribing from email lists, and it always somehow comes back to bite me in the ass.
Yeah, there's no unsubscribing.
Yeah.
And yet Vine can't stick around.
Oh, yeah, I really miss
Vine has to go away. Kawaii Pet Megu, I don't know if you guys played that one. I spent like $400 on that game, and it stopped existing.
But I was just, I was thinking about like Zuckerberg and how easy he is to make fun of. He's like meekly elbowed his way onto the world stage in his like no brand hoodie and like dingy trainers. And he's a guy, I mean, the whole like idea of his political ambitions is kind of confusing because he's a guy who's basically anti-charismatic. Like, all the world leaders now have at least like a persona. Like, Trump is a court jester, Putin's like a sexy strongman.
Yeah.
Macron and Trudeau are technocratic, like neolib heartthrobs, and
he just sounds like a Vox explainer.
Yeah.
Like a really like needly voice.
yeah, he's the guy that like at the bar who like sneaks up on you and roofies your drink. And then like eats your liver or something.
Eats your pussy while you're asleep. And
Yeah.
doesn't do anything else.
He like finger blasts you. This is a true story about a guy who reminds me a lot of Zuckerberg, who I used to hang out with a lot. And once I got really drunk and fell asleep in like the second bedroom in his house while he was like ostensibly like in bed with my friend because I was like too drunk to go home. And I like woke up to him like bent over me like Nosferatu. This is my Me Too moment, guys.
Here we go.
And like with his hands down my pant, and I was like, what? I like jerked up. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And he was like, I was just trying to make sure you were breathing. And I'm like, what? Because my lungs are in my pussy. But that's like the kind of guy Zuckerberg is.
Yeah, or he just actually doesn't know.
Yeah, you might. Yeah,
How to make sure
your
your
heart
human
rate.
being is breathing.
I mean, that's a real possibility that he's actually just autistic.
He's definitely autistic. I don't think that's disputable.
Yeah, that's
Like,
But he has like probably a really kind of serious team of advisors. Like,
and you can
Sheryl
see him
Sandberg.
her testimony like struggling to like basically like be blinking and making eye contact at the right moment. And,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
drinking water like a human being does. but he's,
Licking
like,
his eye with his eyelid with his tongue.
steak tongue.
I did enjoy the photos of his little booster seat.
What was that?
He was like sitting on a booster seat.
He had like a children's booster
He's so
seat
tiny. That's so cute.
to prop him up and make him look dignified.
Like he didn't think anyone would notice.
Yeah. I mean, how tall is this man? Like 5'4". I'm gonna put him at 5'7".
Let's see.
He's like Dasha height.
Whoa. How tall are you?
I'm
Hannah?
5'7".
5'4". I'm a tiny tot. I'm a spinner, guys.
I'm sure most of
He's
those.
5'7". Yeah. Elon Musk 6'2".
Oof.
What a faggot he is.
He's a Nazi. I like have literally thought, I've also had visions of like Elon Musk rifle butting me into a mass grave as I like clutch my freezing infant, like Schindler's List style. Can you shit some?
Mr. Musk.
But the biggest irony of Facebook is that, like, for all of its like rhetoric of radical transparency, Zuckerberg himself keeps like a super tight lid on his personal life. I think he bought.
Yeah.
There was that story a while back how he bought two adjacent townhouses, or like he bought one townhouse and bought the other two on either side, so that nobody could photograph him and his wife like going about their day. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, they were like hanging upside down from the rafters.
There are like those photos of him walking around where his legs look like they're bending backwards.
Yeah, that's the secret. His joints actually bend.
There's something up with Zuckerberg.
Yeah, which makes him like a prime candidate. I think ISIS knows. I was talking to Amber about this the other day, and she had a really good take on the whole thing. So during the testimony, Zuck comes out as basically pro-regulation, which seems to go against everything that Facebook stands for, both in terms of its business plan and its like larger consumer ethos. And there have been like a lot of murmurs in the press, obviously, about Zuckerberg, about his political ambitions, like the possibility of a future presidential bid, that sort of thing. You guys remember his personal challenge of visiting every state in the United States, which is basically like a Soylent Bros gamified version of political campaigning.
Right.
But, in her mind, she was like, to paraphrase her, she was like, would it be so far-fetched if the outcome of this kind of hearing or testimony is some sort of regulatory commission? And would it be so far-fetched if Mark Zuckerberg was basically priming himself to become like the head of that commission? Why not?
Right.
Which, that to me is like far more terrifying than the idea of like Zuckerberg as president. And after all, we already have our first Jewish president, Donald Trump.
Not a big week for women, huh?
No.
Not
Not a lot happened in feminist issues. Yeah.
Feminist issues.
Yeah.
When are we going to get a Pulitzer?
Yeah. I think we deserve the Pulitzer.
I think you definitely deserve one, Anna.
For being sexy.
For best Twitter.
Thank you, Josh. I deserve a Pulitzer for sucking dick. My greatest skill after shit posting.
I'm not that good at sucking dick, I think. When that Black China video, when that sex tape was circulating and everyone was talking about how bad she was at sucking dick, I was kind of like, whoa. I was like, she doesn't seem that bad at sucking dick to me. I guess I just assume like having your dick in someone's mouth feels good no matter
automatically,
what.
No matter what you do.
But apparently that's not true.
What?
What'd you say?
Nothing. I said automatically.
Yeah, like putting your dick in any orifice, I imagine to feel very good.
Okay.
Meg wants us
Speaking
to
of
stop.
orifices, do you guys want to review the Amy Schumer movie?
Yes, I would love to do
let's
that. We
go
should
see
do that.
that. I Feel Pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Comes out on 4/20. Maybe we can rip some fat doinks and go
See the movie, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
So
we'll have
stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We're gonna go on
We've got more movie reviews.
Yeah.
We're gonna get zooted.
If you wanna-
see some movies and maybe see Gloria Steinem again.
Maybe. Well,
See you in hell.